Do you need a copywriting mentor?
Yes.
No. One of the questions that we always get asked is,
do you need a mentor?
And we have different opinions about this, but that doesn't necessarily mean that either of us are wrong, even though he's the one who is wrong.
I think you need a copywriting mentor because I've worked with people who haven't had copywriting mentors, doing less of the things that impinge your success. And as a copywriter who has no mentor, you are not aware enough to call out those issues and say, I need to stop doing that, because you don't know yet. A mentor is someone that'll say, hey, you're doing these 5 things. All you really need to be doing are these 2 things. You get this much time back. You get this much time back. You get this much time back, and you get this much time back, and you double the efforts of the profitable activities. That's what I believe the mentor accomplishes the moment they walk through the door and they just go, oh, this is a mess. They straighten out the house, they clean everything up, and it's just nice.
Objection!
Here's why I don't think people need a mentor, at least in the beginning. Because when I started at Agora, I had some of the best mentors in the world. I've been mentored by some of the best copywriters who have ever lived. But I also had a 15-year freelance career before I ever worked at Agora. I've been writing for money since 2001, and I never had a mentor. I was doing copywriting without even realizing it. I was doing ghostwriting, things like that. So I was getting paid to write words for over a decade before I ever had somebody come in and be like, all right, let's clean this house. I think that trying to get a mentor is not the best thing that you should be doing when you're just starting to try to get money. It depends on what your ultimate goal is. Like, for example, if you want to write like high converting sales copy that sells millions, you need a mentor. Nobody gets to the NBA without having had world-class coaching. But you don't get into playing basketball by having a world-class coach scream at you as a kid. You just discover a love of the game and find your way to play it fairly frequently, and you get better. And as you get better, you become more talented. Once you have a certain job or you do a certain thing for somebody on a freelance basis, then you can actually get picked out of high school, picked out of college.
When I do interviews or I talk to copywriters, the first question I ask is, what are your career goals? But it's always become a world-class, A-list copywriter. I don't think anyone's ever answered that question and said, get by. Everybody's a sophisticated marketer now. You want to come to the table with the real skill now, and the expectations for people entering the game and getting paid to do the thing isn't like, we need a blog post. Now when someone asks for a blog post, they're like, I need a blog post. I need this many words. I need subheads. I need to rank on page 1 of Google. The reason I'm bringing this up now, and I've never really thought about it, was you said like, I worked for this amount of time, and I was kind of just making money. It's like, especially the people I talk to, they're like, I want to be a copywriter. Going out willy-nilly without some guidance, you're going to make a fool of yourself a little bit.
I've seen a lot of people go through free stuff and actually get an entry-level position. And then what typically happens is once they have a little bit of money coming in, then they'll pay for products. Then they'll seek out mentorship. Because then they're no longer in that like feast or famine, like I need a copywriting job now or I will die.
If you're in fight or flight, and this is about money right now, like if you're dying for this next dollar, it's not a good place to work from. I've never had to do that because my first gig was a job.
Yeah.
And I had a mentor. The reason I am who I am is because I walked in and on day 1, I immediately got told, stop reading books about copy. On day 1, like I would have never done that on my own. I'd have read forever. If no one more intelligent than me would have been standing there, I'd have continued to do these things. And then I would eventually have them cemented as habits.
What I'm saying is that people can get a toehold. That's all I'm saying. That people need a toehold in this first before they can be sort of nurtured and grown into an A-list copywriter or even just somebody who's trying to make money from writing.
See, but your approach when you're saying that is that it's almost like a requirement, like a prereq. I didn't do toehold. I got straight into Agora. I had Valdo right there looking over my shoulder. I have to give credit to that mentorship and that guidance. It propelled me straight to what people thought I was a prodigy.
But I disagree, because you came into Agora having written and published several books. You were a practicing writer.
Fiction.
But that's still more experience than most people have. You had a toehold in writing words with the intention of people to read them.
I wrote some words.
Fair enough. I wouldn't say that a toehold is a prerequisite for getting into copy. It's something that is helpful for people, and from there, they can get a vantage to decide for themselves, do I need a mentor? Do I want to really push the gas on this and rise to the top of the mountain? Or do I want to just get $2,000 a month and coast because that's really all I need from this?
I wrote words with the intent to sell the books. And the ironic part of it is I found copy because the books weren't selling. So yeah, I was a practicing writer. I was trying to do something and I couldn't accomplish it. And that's when I joined Agora. I applied for the job, got the mentorship. And again, all my problems went away.
I don't think we disagree that you need a mentor for some things, but I'm very skeptical of most mentors that are out there.
Like if they're selling mentorship as
yes,
a service?
Yes.
Okay.
Because like I've done the math and I've seen the value of one of my hours. So for me to focus on making you better has to meet or exceed the value of that hour relative to what I could get doing what I normally do without mentoring people. The whole notion of somebody being like, yeah, I'll mentor you, just throw me $20. Exactly. So I'm supremely skeptical of, copywriting mentors who are just like, just pay me a little bit of money and I'll make you a 10-figure copywriter. You just got to pay me that hot, nasty money. And also, by the way, it's like $200. I'm like, no, like a true mentor knows the value of their time. For me, it just seems like a really ripe, fertile ground for taking advantage of people. And I think that there's too much of that in our space. I don't want somebody to pay me $500 an hour when their questions are like, what is a sales letter? I would feel like a fucking scumbag.
Oh, yeah.
So what advice would you give to people watching in order to get a good copywriting mentor?
I actually literally made a video on this and I had some like my high level points. One of them is follow instructions. So even my application process, I won't lie, it's a little needlessly rigmarole just to see if you'll do it. It's an attribute. It's not, I don't care about your skill yet. I'm gonna teach you the skill. The attribute is, will you comply? So when I say like, we need this stuff in a design brief, and you're like, well, that sounds boring. That's a real thing that can be a problem and mess up a campaign or mess up a package. So the first one is, will they take instruction? And I will test them. I will test you several times. The next thing, I would say almost the most important thing, hitting deadlines. I have a spreadsheet where I put all the promos that someone has written. I put their name, all the promos they've written, revenue that's generated, the royalty rate, and how much I gotta pay them. And I tell someone, if you're not happy with the money you're making, or if you wanna make more money, you need to stack rows. How many rows are on your spreadsheet? If you can look over a course of a year and you've got 3 rows, you're not worthy of the money you want. Take instruction, hit deadlines. I think those two above all else, like if you can nail those, you're gonna be fine. That's how you keep a mentor.
That's how you keep one.
Yeah.
But how do you get one?
How do you get one? Demonstrate that you are somehow already following my instruction. That's so valuable to me. When someone will hit me up, I did this, and this. Initiative.
You noticed the talent, and the talent had already been doing something pretty positive, at least for a little bit, before they ever came to you for mentorship, which I feel like proves my point. Hopefully, you will either get to a point in your career where getting a mentor makes sense, or you'll get a mentor very soon and you'll knock it absolutely out of the park. So thank you very, very much for joining this, was it a debate? Between Kyle Copy Squad Milligan and Sean Copy That MacIntyre.
I could have done like some Jack Black eyebrows.
Yeah, okay, let's do a take like that.